Player 4 Podcast's first t-shirt is now on sale at tpublic.com. Ever wonder what it takes to make a good podcast? We've already done the math for you and put it on a t-shirt. Visit our storefront at tpublic.com/user/P4Podcast and get yours today. That's tpublic.com/user/P4Podcast.
This is the Player 4 Podcast. Join us each week as we talk about video games, entertainment, and pop culture, and bring in guests from the Rooster Teeth community. Player 4 has entered the game.
It's the Player 4 Podcast. Sound off, soldiers.
Hello, I am Tristan, aka Shagrazir from the Rooster Teeth website.
Sir, I am Alex, aka Chaos Black 21.
Malachi, a.k.a. Sukikiba.
And I'm Joseph, a.k.a. J. Dunlap. Privates.
Front and center.
Hide your privates, front and center.
No,
Double.
please keep them hidden. Alright, so today we know that we wanted to relive Vicariously, and then we were going to talk about our favorite games.
That's pretty short and sweet right there.
I like it.
So red versus blue and then video games. So Malachi, tell us, Malachi, tell us.
We need to relive through your eyes. What did you watch?
The chaos that is red versus blue.
What season did you watch?
Just nonsense. Season 3. And the church shenanigans.
The church shenanigans. What do you mean by the church shenanigans? How did it start off in season 3? What was the last thing that happened in season 2? How did it lead in?
It ended with everyone teleporting in, and everyone went to different locations.
Right.
And that was the start of season 3, which is actually kind of fun with the beginning of season 3 with Caboose and Sarge stuck together, and the random 4-player red versus blues that were there that were the
flying zones.
the hyperactive freaking characters.
The parody of online players.
Still the Reds.
It was actually really accurate if you think about it. Just all their comments during the fight.
Weak, you stole my kill.
Oh yeah, the camping, yeah. It's a legitimate strategy. Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. And I really like Sarge because his comments are witty but not over the top. Like when the Caboose is like, he's trying to act like trying to think like O'Malley, and he's like, he was in there and I still left some stuff, and he's like, he took more than just your mind. He took the drapes and furniture. I forgot how he says specifically.
He's made off with the drapes and the couch, and I wouldn't expect to get that security deposit back anytime soon.
Yeah, I love Sarge's comments. They're great. And
Also,
then Simmons.
My head is round. That window is square.
Not a morale boost, moron. A physical one.
Yeah, so great.
Nice things about you.
Kittens with spikes.
So,
the sibilance.
and we've seen all the shenanigans with O'Malley finding the one base and them blowing it up and then causing, and then Church finding out of his time travel and how he keeps frigging up all the time.
So how'd you like Gary?
Oh yeah, Gary the computer. You would have got it done sooner if you stopped telling knock jokes.
What is the foulest spelling animal on your planet? Does this creature defecate? Well, yeah, of course. Does its defecation then turn and generate its own defecation? Ew, no, that's gross. Then there is no appropriate approximation for shizno in your language.
Tristan, now I have to bleep you.
Oh, you have to bleep shizno?
You said shizno.
I said shizno again. Bleep it. Bleep it hard.
Oh my gosh.
Bleep.
I will bleep
There,
that
you could use
so
that
hard.
bleep. You could use that
Bloop.
bleep it. No, not that one. That one's not good.
No, because then he could do bleep bloop.
Ha okay,
I'll say I'll bleep bloop every time I say shit.
Bleep bloop.
We'll just say
Bleep bloop.
twice.
Bleep bloop. Bleep bloop. Now, Malachi, how did you like Yellow Church?
He doesn't.
Oh, that was funny.
Yellow, yeah. There's Yellow Church in that
Yellow
season, and then there's Yellow Church in season 5.
It was like, well, yeah, it was season 3. He was like, "What happened to you?" I don't want to talk about it.
Dude, it was such a good idea.
He didn't actually.
The payoff for that joke is really good.
Yeah, but that's later because he didn't get into details. He was just like, yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. And there was also kind of funny. It's like a little hole in their little thing there when they all got blown to the future, and they had to carry the bomb into the base to blow it up. And Tex said she couldn't lift it. I'm thinking to myself, she's a freaking robot, and they were speaking to her like she wasn't.
Well,
Girls
what's
are
funny?
weak.
In season 1, or no, season, yeah, it was still season 1. She flipped the tank over
Yeah.
easily, but she
was
can't
the
lift the bomb.
Lift! Wow, she is really strong.
You can fix Sheila. I love you.
I love you.
And it's also great that every single terrible thing was from Church trying to fix it.
Sheila, come back to me.
I
Buck,
made you a muffin.
Buck what was his name?
Mhm.
The captain of the Blue before Church
Captain
got them.
Flowers. Captain Butch
Flowers.
Flowers.
Yes.
You're gonna have a heart attack in your sleep. Let me inject this syringe.
He was actually the lead singer of Bare Naked Ladies.
He is. It's Ed.
Wait, what? Really?
It's Ed.
Yep.
Nice. So, yeah, and he killed him, and then everything else just domino effect. Every single thing that happened was all his fault. So, that's everything I watched. I 20 minutes off from the ending, so I didn't watch the last couple episodes. So, it ended where they're letting Tex free to try to fix the problem. And I just like the comment, I'm gonna go get Lopez to use the weather dominator to try to defuse the bomb, which was why they can't defuse it, is because it struck him. Everything he does is just...
I'm the team killer.
If you ever have this idea to have a robot army, then you should not do that.
What the heck was he talking about? I don't know, but that robot army sounded pretty good.
Well, he was like, it costs a lot of money, it's a lot of paperwork.
Let's try to convince them not to do it. Friendly fire protocol. That's the thing that lets you target allies, right? Yeah, disable that. Friendly targets may now be acquired by the auto-targeting system. Damn it!
You may now call me Sheila.
Phyllis. Well, that was Phyllis.
Phyllis.
She was
Phyllis.
Phyllis, and then he changed it to Sheila.
The payoff on that joke later, just because they worked it in, they retconned it in a smooth way, was really nice. They worked it into the new storyline.
Make sure you point that out when it happens, so that Malachi will go, "Oh yeah."
I didn't get the skit in the beginning. That kind of went over my head for a moment.
Which one?
Just the beginning where they were doing the skit after they got blown up, they got blown into the future.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and Donuts.
Donuts.
Donuts play.
Yeah, that kind of. I was like, what?
Was that like a recap skit? Because I don't actually.
No, it was the one where one of them was the past, one of them was the present, one was the future,
Oh,
Okay.
and then Tucker came and fucked it all up.
Because he didn't get the concept of it. He was just like, wait, we're in the present. No, the present's gone. We're in the future.
And then Caboose thinks about this for a moment.
I completely forgot this segment. I'm glad we got to relive this vicariously. What I did remember was the PSA that they did right after they went to the future, which was when they were making the Christmas tree, and then the Reds attacked and were shooting the bulbs off the Christmas tree.
What were you doing?
No, the Blues attacked.
What were you doing? Parked in the shade for 2 hours.
Yes.
I can tell you what we weren't doing.
It's solar powered. It's got to stay in direct sunlight.
I am ashamed to say I know what fanfiction it was that Jeff was reading to Gus that one night about Griff and Simmons. Because it was about what they were doing parked in the shade for 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. My ears are virgin. Don't explain it to me.
I'm not going to explain it to you. It's just I'm ashamed to say
I want to know.
I know the story for some reason.
Fanfiction with Alex? Is that going to be part of Fanfiction with Alex?
Yes.
Be right back. I need to write something.
Oh man.
Let me fight Griff.
So anything else about season 3?
Sarge is being blocked by everyone with the whole we could use the sand and the exhaust to make a lens to find the Texas location. He wanted to make the glass lens, and they're like, well, why don't we just listen to the coordinates? And he's like, oh, well, yeah, we could do that. And they were doing the computer and to try to see the message from church, and he's like, I need your parts from your spleen, Simmons? And then he's like, well, why don't I just push the play button? He's like, well, I already have it open.
I'm already down here.
Really? I thought we were doing this.
I got the panel open and everything.
Okay.
That's one thing. That's why I'm really enjoying Sarge, just because of these fun situations that he's in.
He's way more man than the situation can handle.
So that's my last tidbit I want to throw in that I liked.
Well, there you go. We have relived Vicariously.
I just have a
Season
question
3.
for you.
Yes.
Do you want to hold my ankles while I stretch my hammies?
Oh my god, donuts. Donuts, wine, and cheese hour.
They were talking softly. There were candles everywhere.
Oh god.
They keep making him this, like, shifting down and down toward the gayer spectrum because it's pink armor.
Okay, so
He's the only one who doesn't know he's gay.
Princess Peach.
Hey, pretty in pink. You been messing around with my robot? Oh, why would you even ask that?
Okay, what's the next thing that's going on? You guys wanted to talk about something.
Got some digi games.
So, basically, I believe my understanding of this is that Malachi is playing a lot of games that he's excited about, but he doesn't think maybe our listeners have heard of, so he wanted to explain them to our listeners, and they're all Japanese video games that he really likes, but also, Tristan, you've got a game that you've really been hitting hard. You want to kind of talk about, since it's a little bit more mainstream, but not
somewhat, yes.
Everyone's necessarily heard of.
Yeah.
I'll mention mine first because I can also give feedback to what Tristan's playing also with the other game. So I'll just quickly mention mine, and then we can go on from there.
Go for it.
So I bought a game recently. I forgot what date it was released at. It's not brand new, but it's not very old. It's Dengeki Bunko, fighting Climax. It is a 2D fighter that features a lot of characters from animes. Kind of like that game out there that's J-Stars. I haven't seen that game at all. But some of the characters you get to play is from Sword Art Online. You got Kirito and Asuna are both in the game as playable characters. You have Shizuho from Durara. You have a couple of I forget her name. Character from Toradora, and the one main female character in it. And several other characters. Kiro Yuki Hime from Cell World's in there also. So there's a couple of fighters from it. It's a very simple fighting game. It's an easy one to pick up and put down. There's nothing complicated about it. It's really nice that everything about the way the system's built is pretty much all the moves can be strung together pretty fluidly. And like I said, it's not very complicated. You quick pick up and play with a random friend, and then you could easily put it down. It was pretty enjoyable. And I haven't tried the game modes out very much yet, but I've read that they're actually very enjoyable.
So how did you find this game?
I was just at GameStop, and I was just like, what I like to do is I like to peek at stuff that's on the shelf, and I will look up them later. So I seen that up there, and I was like, oh, I know this character on the cover, and then I went and looked at it at home, and then went back and got it later.
What system did you say it was for?
It's for PS3. It's an older game. And the next thing I have is Monster Hunter Generations, which is not out yet, and I'm very excited about, though. They've actually it looks like they put a lot more depth in the game. The battle system has always been a action RPG kind of thing. You got to be mobile, dodging the enemy's attacks, and you got attacks that you can do in a sequence, and they're interchangeable. But they added a lot of leap attacks in with all the weapon classes, which is fantastic. It's a great mechanic, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And they also added kind of like a ultimate to all the weapon types, to where it's a strong attack that will leave you vulnerable while you're doing it. So you got to make sure your timing's good. But it's supposed to be very strong for each weapon, which is really cool. And there's 2 different styles that you can interchange with each weapon. So you can mix and match a lot of different things. So I'm excited about that game a lot. And the Monster Hunter series to me has always been extremely enjoyable. Any questions at all about those two games?
What made you think that people would not know Monster Hunter? Is that like the biggest mainstream of the Nintendo franchise right now?
No, I
Other
don't
than
know.
Pokemon.
It's just come up more. I just don't know. That one I mentioned because I'm excited about it. The first one was the one that was kind of a random one. But yeah, Monster Hunter is more well known now. I didn't know about it for a long time until 3 came out is when I first heard about it.
Tell me you mean Monster Hunter Try?
Yes, that was an awesome one.
I just punched my desk.
Way
So-
to go.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
So,
So
Tristan, what game do you have?
I have been playing the crap out of a bunch of free-to-play games on Steam, and none recently more than MechWarrior Online, which my friend told me about because I didn't know that it had released on Steam. Apparently it's been out since 2012, and nobody told me about it, which made me really sad because I've been playing MechWarrior games since MechWarrior 3, which I still have the CD for and play it on my PC from time to time. MechWarrior Online is, as its name suggests, an online multiplayer version of it. So it doesn't have a single-player mode like the other versions of the game do. But they are constantly... So it's all just mech battles against other players. And they're constantly adding new mech models from the lore. As far as I can tell, they've only got lore-friendly mechs in the game. I haven't seen any not from the lore so far. So that's pretty cool. They have, lore-accurate costs, and you can go in, figure out what your favorite mech is, buy it once you have the money to by winning games using, like, free trial mechs. And then you can customize the crap out of it, put your own custom loadout of weapons on, geared toward your playstyle if you're a medium to long range or if you're a brawler type fighter. And what I've always liked about MechWarrior it's a first-person shooter game, but why I would choose it over other shooter games or even other giant robot games is just because it feels like you're piloting a giant robot. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty first-person shooter because you can't just sprint everywhere you want to go and dive for cover and peek over chest-high walls. And it's not like Armored Core where you're basically a ninja that looks like a robot flying around and shooting ninja stars that they call missiles at the enemy. You're in a walking tank. It's slow. You have to deal with acceleration and deceleration rates. You have to deal with the heat generation of your weapons. You have to deal with the armor on different parts of your tank versus the internals of those same parts. I've had lots of games recently where I'll lose weapons on my arm, but I'll still have the arm, and I'm sitting there going, well, how did that happen? And that's when I learned that when you score critical hits on an enemy, it means that it dealt internal damage and it bypassed armor. So it's kind of cool. I'm having a lot of fun. There are lots of mechs to choose from. It's set in a period where the clans are supposed to be making their hard push for Earth through the inner sphere, though currently the inner sphere is absolutely curb stomping all the clans, which is not accurate to the lore, but still, fun game.
You should tell them.
I'm sure lots of people have complained. For some reason, my friend and I are looking at it and they're like, every time they release a patch, there are more negative buffs on the clan mechs and more positive buffs on the inner sphere mechs. Who's out there telling them that the clan mechs are too strong? If you look at the star map, which is what this is all based on, you fight in battles and take over planets from other clans and from the inner sphere and back and forth. And you can see who owns the largest portion of the star map. Fully, 8/10 of the entire map are controlled by the inner sphere houses. There's, no contest. The only way you can beat the inner sphere mechs is with really good team coordination, and you can have that in games, and it's really great when you do, but when you don't, you get bulldozed.
I actually know what that's like from my days in Lord of the Rings Online, which
Yeah.
I played my last semester of college, undergrad, for about 2 years. My son was born while I was playing. Not literally while I was playing. That actually happened one time.
5 more minutes.
Hold the kid in a second. I'll be right there.
I heard a story about that. A guy went home while his wife was in labor to check something, and he was addicted to computers and internet, so he sat down, turned on his computer, I'll check my email. And he's like, I'll log on to WoW, check my in-game mail. And then they were like, hey, come raid with us, and then it became, okay, I'll do a boss with you. And he ended up raiding while his wife was in labor.
Wow. Not cool, dude. Don't do that to your wife.
No, I didn't do that. No. I'm just saying, like, I was part of the game community on my server, which was probably the biggest server at the time, probably still is. I posted pictures of my son when he was born to the forum for the server, and everyone was like, oh, congrats. So I had a lot of friends on that game, but it was kind of like what you were experiencing, which is the Free People faction, the humans, the elves, the dwarves, the hobbits. They were very much more powerful than the creeps, the freeps and the creeps. And the creeps were the orcs and the goblins and the wargs and the spiders. And the only way you could really compete was, heaven forbid, superior numbers. That's not quite as fun, or just superior teamwork. And so I was often on that side with a pretty dedicated team where we would be there with like a very tight group that we could really work together and best them, because really the most of the effort put into the game's development was for the freep classes, because that was the classes you would play when you were questing and leveling up like most games. And then if you played a creep, it was just so you could be cannon fodder.
You don't like just being cannon fodder?
No. And I actually, the way I understand it is that's also the way that Star Trek Online was like. If you were playing as Klingon, the only way you could really win was through superior teamwork.
Well, that sucks.
Well, I mean, superior teamwork isn't a bad thing, but making it so that it's so unbalanced in that way is not fun.
The thing was that they made the Free People's classes, like the captain and the lore keeper and all of that, the basic, like the warrior and let me think, not warrior, there was champion and there was guardian. Those were the melee classes, and then there was burglar. They all were designed to where they could go quest and not have a bad time, you know? So they all had balance between like their bomb attacks, like their big attacks, or their heals, or their stuns, or the ways to break out of a stun, that they didn't give to the monster classes because they didn't need that for solo questing. As a result, though, when you would do like 1v1 fights, you'd be playing against someone like a human captain who would have 2 huge heals to burn and a last stand ability to burn, while all you have is the basic attack powers.
Yep, it's a lot like that in MWO right now, where they basically have made it so that the inner sphere mechs don't need to worry about heat management at all. So they just load up all these lasers, which are the highest heat output, and they just fire them all at once. And you can do that on a clan mech twice, and then you shut down from overheating, whereas the inner sphere mechs are just running around alphaing 3, 4, 5 times without any heat problems. So, yeah, there's a bit of the balance game going on right now, and hopefully they start working on the balance, making it more balanced.
It just all comes down to what their concern is. In Lord of the Rings, it wasn't a PvP game, not like World of Warcraft and other games like that, where it's all designed around player versus player. This was specifically going and questing and being in the Shire and being in Bree and being elsewhere, and then if you wanted to go off and do your PvP, that was just off to the side. That was a sideshow. So they didn't really put much development into that, the balance between the monsters and the free peoples and so forth.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's actually, since it's so common between so many games, what if that's actually kind of just a thing that is done in the game to put its level of challenge if you want to do the other class?
Well, when you're in a game that is this PvP thing, the idea is really that it's supposed to be, it's all balanced, and it comes down to player skill, how you use what you have against the enemy. It shouldn't come down to if you have two mechs that have the same armor and the same laser layout and the same speed and the same cover on each side of the map, that the one guy should win every time. It should be about a 50-50. Just because, and it shouldn't be he wins every time just because he doesn't have to manage his heat. That's not balanced. That's not a balanced way to do it.
Yeah, it can make it unfun. So you'd recommend people to play MechWarrior, Tristan?
I've been having fun with it, haven't you?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I need to get better at some of the bigger mechs. They're a lot way harder to get skillful with because you don't have that movement speed you have with the lighter mechs.
You trade out movement speed for firepower, and that can really, really be hard to get used to.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for us to say goodnight, but before that happens, I have a question for Malachi and Tristan, since you guys are playing that game together. Would you, in the near future, be making any Let's Play videos?
We could. I wouldn't be against that. I've never thought of it.
I stream on my Twitch, and actually right now, MechWarrior streaming is pretty popular. People like to watch, especially like the well-known clans, or units as they're called, fighting in the community warfare. So every now and then I stream my MechWarrior stuff, but I imagine that, like, Let's Playing, I tend to only do with games that have a storyline, and there really is no storyline with MechWarrior, but I could do, like, a little tutorial, like, here's this menu, here you pick this weapon, put it on this mech.
I think I would actually watch if you were to do a video just saying this is the different mechs. Especially if you were to do that with Warframe, I would definitely watch that if you said this is all the different frames of Warframe. What is your Twitch channel?
I am at twitch.com/Shagrazir.
Yeah.
SHAGRAZIR.
Shagrazor.
What?
No, I've been trying to avoid that pronunciation for years.
So, no, but real quick, just the ending note. What you could do with the Let's Plays, though, is that you could just give breakdown of specific things to look for, and that means you just have, like, just quick for each class. Kind of like Joseph said, an introduction to each thing.
I could do that, yeah. I'd have to go do some
right.
research, and then I could do that. All right, thank you for joining us on the Player 4 podcast.
Good night.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
Watch out for the spike kittens.
Yeah, they make me angry.
Kittens with spikes.